Hello everybody and happy Wednesday. So today we're gonna go through this lovely little animal deck here that I haven't touched in a while. I should say I haven't really touched it since I've had it, and I've had this for quite some time. But I figured it'd be fitting to go through like a tarot deck with you guys while we chit chat, right? Just look at the pictures, if an animal speaks to you, comment below, right? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit the bell so you get notifications when I post. That way you don't miss shit, right? Because who the fuck likes missing shit? But anyway, we're gonna shoot the shit today. We're gonna talk about this deck, sort of. And we're also gonna talk about how to kind of develop a more sound goal, right? This is something that I touch on a lot with certain clients, like if I'm doing like life coaching or anything like that. I touch on this with them, but I figured it might be kind of good to kind of give you guys like, pointers on how I set my goals and how you can take that and manipulate it to whatever you need it to be for you. So that being said, let's get started. All right, so this is the Spirit Animal Tarot. Now, I love the animals except spiders and snakes. I'll just say it that way. Those are two creatures I can deal without. However, I know their benefit in the spiritual realm. I know their benefit in the physical realm, but mentally it fucks me up. So I'll say it that way. But if you know me, then you know that I do. I am a shamanic practitioner, I should say, and I am a practicing shaman. And I use a lot of animal energy in my energy healing sessions with people, and mostly for myself, right? But I do use it with clients as well. So I like to use cards, whether it be oracle or tarot, with my sessions, because it kind of helps me gauge if I'm going in the right direction, or if maybe I missed something that this person might need from that particular beast or creature or whatever. So I like to use cards for that manner, particularly animal cards. So we're gonna go through that, and as you can see, this is good and new, right? Like I probably should have opened this before I got on camera here and y'all watched me sit here and struggle, but whatever. You guys can just kind of watch the struggle there. So we'll set that out the way so you don't really have to see that. We have the book here. If you plan on getting this deck, just so you know, this book is fully colored and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I love that it's colored. And each suit has its own color. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So it's kind of how you can tell what's earth, what's air, what's fire, what's water. And then you have the majors, which are this light purple color if it shows up that way. But anyway, that's the book. I don't really use the book. I don't know why I just showed y'all that, but whatever. You guys can take it. Anywho, let's go through this. Ooh, okay. So let's talk about goals, right? It's kind of fitting that the first card in all decks, at least the major card, is the Fool. And when you set a goal, you're trying to reach something that you didn't necessarily, like, you've never been at that point before. And a lot of times people will tell you, well, to manifest a goal, just put it out there and, you know, just leave it there and don't think about it. Okay. Now, I will say that if someone's doing some type of root work for you or anything like that, they put the petition out there for you. No, you shouldn't think about it. However, you should have a new mindset. Okay. That is kind of what the Fool is all about. It's when you go on a journey, what mindset are you rolling with? Are you going in the mode of ignorance or in the mode of innocence, right? So look at your goal, right? And just kind of like, if you're going to put this on like a piece of paper, right? You'll have your goal up here, right? And typically you tend to write out all the steps of what goes with that goal. And that's easier said than done, right? Because a lot of times we don't even know how the fuck we're going to get there. But we just know that we need to reach this goal, okay? So, it's funny, I use this particular animal medicine when I'm doing work for myself and others when I go into the Akashic records. This would be like the magician here, right? This would be the magician. Remember, you are the one who sets the tone for the goal. So it's better to kind of break it out. Not necessarily steps you need to achieve, but like, this is how I do it. I have my goal and then I break it out into, and I use tarot, right? So if it helps you, if you ever use a tarot deck, you can also use an oracle deck, but that depends on if the oracle deck has like different sections, right? So there's the top goal, right? It's just the main goal that I want to reach, right? I break it out into the spiritual side of it, right? And in tarot, that's going to be all your major cards. It's all your major cards, okay? From the Fool all the way up to the World, right? It's going to be your major card. And so we'll go over the major cards right now, right? So in that, I look at, okay, what role am I playing in this situation, right? This is the main goal, right? This is the top part. This is what kind of spiritual work or shadow work and things of that nature do I have to do in order to reach that goal. And so typically when I look at my overall goal, I have to go, okay, well, I want to be in this type of energy, this type of vibration. And so I tend to have meditation under there, like enhancing my connection with the divine, doing a candle work or anything like that, anything that I need to get done to help me reach the spiritual side of the main goal, if that makes sense, right? And that's usually my first step. Now, a lot of times that's easier said than done, because I would tell people, you know, when people say, well, I want to do this, and I'm like, okay, where's your spirit in it, right? Because a lot of times in that spiritual space, that divine space is where you find your passion for the very goal that you set, right? And this is where you remember why you're doing this goal. That spiritual section is really, why are you doing this goal? Like, why? What is the sole purpose, and what are you going to achieve with this? And that's the beauty of it, I think, anyway. So that would be your spiritual side. And then you break it out into the physical or the earth side, right? This would be in the tarot deck, your pentacles or your coins, or see, look, spiders, right? I'm not a fan, but I know their role, okay? And I know what they can do for the spirit of a person. And then my favorite, the elephant. oh my God, it's the elephant, right? Like, I look at elephants like people look at dogs. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't really give a damn. But in the physical side of things, this is where you kind of, it's all the tangible things that come with meeting that goal. It's all the tangible things. Like, so say my goal is to generate 1 new paying client a week, right? For 4 weeks. So I always make my goals 1 month goals, right? Because then it's more attainable, it's more reachable for me, okay? So say that's my goal. Well, the physical part of that is, oh, look, I made some money, right? I can reinvest that into my business. I can buy this, I can buy that for my business, right? For my office or whatever I need it for. The other part is, oh, look, I helped a person, a physical person, right? So that's part of that goal. Having a better diet, right, can help keep a clearer mind. So it ties in with the mental part so that I can reach that main goal, right? So separating it out helps you see the greater picture of what it is you're actually achieving, not necessarily just that goal you wrote. It shows you everything that's going to be affected by that, right? So that's the physical side of it. Then I move to the mental side, because we all need some help, okay? We all need a little bit of Jesus, and that's okay, okay? Or whatever you believe in, right? So I move to the mental side. And this is where I get into, okay, I create a mood tracker, right? Because whatever my goal is, I have to make sure that my mood, right? My mental mood, not my emotional mood, my mental mood, because your emotions and your mental and emotional moods are really tied together. However, you want to separate the two, because the mental mood is your thought process, right? It's what are you worrying over, right? What are you constantly turning your mind over on? Not necessarily what you're feeling, because that's the emotional part. The mental part is your thought pattern. And so I create like mood trackers for mental and emotional, because I want to know that with my goal, my mood is good, bad, whatever. And if it's not as good as I would like it to be, then I go to my spiritual goals and I go, I remember why I'm doing this. And it kind of gives you a little perk, right? So it's kind of like you're writing out the pros and cons of it all, but really you're just looking at the pros, because there's no con if you know that everything's a learning curve. It's always a lesson. So when you think of it that way, it makes sense. So the mental goals, that would be your air cards, right? So your swords, or in this particular deck. So that was the major. In this particular deck, the air cards are feathers, right? So it depends on your deck, right? I know there's the Chrysalis Tarot that has some funny names for the minor suits. So you might want to give that a you know, if it tickles your fancy, you can go ahead and look at that. At least I would. Now, I told you this deck is new, okay? It's just been sitting there. So I'm gonna have a little bit of trouble getting these cards apart, but we gonna do it. We gonna do it, okay? So now we got a snake, my other least favorite thing. However, this would be considered your like action-based type of goals, if that makes sense. So your mental goals are your air cards, right? That's where you write out what it is that you're stressing over, what thought patterns can get in the way of you reaching your goal, and how you plan to overcome those, right? We'll get into the emotional goals in a little bit, but this, the fire suit, or the branches, rods, wands, this is more like your action plan, if that makes sense. Like, how do you plan to reach that final goal? This is where you break down step by step, and these steps are dependent on your spiritual goals, your mental goals, your emotional goals, your physical, earthly based goals. Is dependent on a lot of things. So when you get to this stage, and again, you can create your manifestation plan in whatever order works for you. This is just mine, and I found success with my own, and I've also seen other people use it, like, you know, tailor it to them. So just gonna keep that in mind, right? So I would suggest, you know, right now, how do you plan to reach that goal? Like, what these are the this is your role in reaching that goal. Like the spiritual needs, whatever, is like where you put your petition out and you're asking the universe to step in. This is where you step in, right? Because you can't just rely straight on the universe, because you didn't do your part. So they're going to send you whatever they want to send you. And you might have to just be okay with that, right? That's a pretty card. So keep that in mind when you're setting your goals. So what actions can you take? What's the next step, right? Who do you have to call? What meeting do you need to situate? That's a pretty hummingbird. You know, how do you plan to harmonize everything together? And I guess that can kind of go with this card here. So it really does, I'm kind of off center there you go. It really does play a part in manifesting something. Like when they say like it's time to set your goals, this is what they mean by setting your goals. And I know I don't know if every person does their goals this way. This is how I do mine, because it just kind of works. But you know, try it. If it's effective for you, keep going with it, right? So that's the action part of it, the fiery part. Then you have you know, let's look at the emotional side of things, right? The emotional side of things is, how is all of this making you feel? And so when I set a goal, I typically journal behind that goal. So like I'll have the page with my goal on it, and then I'll break it out into the 5 sections, and then I'll start journaling, you know, day to day, how I'm feeling about the goal and whatnot. And I usually have mine follow the moon phases. So I'll start on a new moon and then roll through the eight phases. And my biggest thing is my emotions, right? Are my emotions getting in the way of me succeeding? And what exactly is getting in the way? Am I too angry, right? Am I not hydrated enough? Because, you know, when you're dehydrated, that can affect your emotions, you know, shit like that. And then also, like if you're on a weight loss journey, this is where you would put, okay, am I emotionally eating, right? Because that's a thing. It is a thing, right? And how is that getting in the way of what you're dealing with, and what steps you can take to overcome that those emotional eating patterns, right? Oh, the otters are cute. So there's that part of it. So, you know, with those 5 parts, it's a matter of, come on, stop sticking. Like how you plan to reach the goal for you. Now, the other part of it is, if you know your Mars and your Mercury signs, that can also help you develop a solid plan of action so that you can actually reach the goal that you're trying to attain. Okay, because you're looking at your thought pattern, you're looking at, I mean, you can even look at your Venus, because like, you know, usually a goal, it's something about it that you love, like you have a connection with. You can even look at your Venus, but your Mars, your Mercury, and your Moon, and your rising there. Oh, the hippos are cute. Those particular, like whatever sign sits in the house, that can kind of give you a general idea of how to reach your goals in a more timely manner, more peaceful manner, if I should say. Like, it's less stressful when you know what you got going on in your chart versus if you didn't. I'll say it that way. I like all the colors on this deck, okay? I don't know, I'm a hippie at heart, I promise you, okay? Like, y'all just don't know I be over here blaring all kinds of Janis Joplin and whatnot, but these colors are like absolutely stunning. Like they probably don't look like much to y'all like on camera, but in person, I really like these colors. Like, they're soft, but they're like there, if that makes sense. If you're attracted to the shark, just so you know, like, typically when you're attracted to like sharks or like in that particular family, there's usually a sign of like maybe wanting to study like aromatherapy or something like that. So maybe if you were into that kind of thing, go ahead and look into it. So to kind of give you the gist of it without teaching a whole class here, and y'all be sitting here having to deal with me teaching a whole class, and this video be like an hour motherfucking long, and y'all be like, bitch, shut up, right? Long story short, take your goal and then break it out into subsections of mental, emotional, physical, action, and spiritual. Okay, once you break it out into that, and understanding your Mercury, your Mars, your Moon, and you know, your rising, you'll know faster how to reach your goal, if that makes sense, right? This will be the Earth cards here, which I like these two. I mean, I'm not a fan of rats, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I know some people keep them as like pets and stuff, and to each their own. I ain't gonna knock you, but it's cute, right? This donkey is cute. I like all those colors there. So that being said, when you are setting your goals, or even if you like, you know, there's other ways to set your goals. Some people just write down a goal and then they just go for it. They don't really need a plan of action. This is more for the people who need like a more detailed way of reaching their goals, right? Like people like me, because my brain be like, break that out so we can into smaller sections so I know exactly what it is you're trying to achieve. It kind of gets down to like, oh, it's the llama, right? I'm not going to scream like I was going to scream for the elephants. I'm not going to scream for the llamas either, but I love llamas too. So like, how can I say this? Like, when you're setting, like, for those of you who like to get down to the core of your goal, you want to break it out in little subsections, because it then helps you create a vision board if you have this on your vision board. So I create my vision boards based on my goal, right? Not necessarily based on all the things that I want to achieve. It's mainly on the goal that I'm looking to achieve. So when you break out everything, you kind of have an idea, like, that's your vision board, right? That's kind of like your like you're creating like your grand scheme of things, right? Like what you want to see in the end. That's your vision board, right? Your vision board is like, you know, you're taking all these pictures and words and you're putting them together and you go, that's what I want, right? But how do you know that that's what you want if you haven't taken your goal and broken it down? Like, some people can see beyond what they wrote down and they just go for it. And sometimes I can do that too. But I mostly like to break my goal down so that I can actually like see the majority of the picture, right? Now, will there be hiccups along the way? Always. You're on a learning curve. That's the whole beauty in reaching a goal. You're learning everything you can possibly fucking learn along the way. But I'll say this, right? With all the energies that move around where, you know, there's this retrograde or that retrograde, and then there's all the solar stuff that happens and so on and so forth. Keep yourself in mind when you, like, I shouldn't say keep yourself in mind. Keep those things in mind when you yourself are feeling wonky, right? So whenever I get to a new month in my planner, I write in all the retrogrades that are supposed to happen during that time, or if we're still in one. I write down all the moon phases. I write down everything. You can also buy a planner that kind of gives you a lot of that. I just like writing, so I'll write it myself. I like my own energy in my calendar, so I write it myself. But I take that into account because I got some wonky shit in my chart that gets affected by some of these retrogrades. So I myself like to make sure that I'm in check when I'm reaching a goal, and that nothing's really in my way of doing that. So yes, astrology and all of that stuff, it plays a really big part in reaching your goal. And, you know, some people are like, nah, I don't really believe in that. You ain't got to, but I do, right? But I'll tell you this. That's cute. That's pretty, parrot. When you're, like, think back to a time where you set a goal and then somehow you didn't reach it, and you looked at everything on the outside but forgot to look at the things going on the inside. And when you think back on that time, ask yourself, what did I learn? What could I have done differently? Did I forget the part where maybe this wasn't in alignment? Right? Because this is why under the spiritual part of my goal, I always put meditation in there, because I want to make sure that we all on the same page of what the fuck I'm trying to reach, right? That plays a really, really big part. So look back at your goals, right? Or if you have a goal now that you're looking to achieve, is this the right time, right? Do you have what you need in order to achieve that goal? And what is it going to do for you financially and the physical part? What is it going to do for you mentally, emotionally? What actions can you put in place? How is this going to affect your spirit? You want to look at all of that, because all of that gets touched when you're reaching a goal, right? Especially if it's something that you're passionate about. All right, I think I taught y'all you're off enough. Okay, I don't know how long it's been because I can't really see the timer there. But I'll say this. Thank you for listening to me talk. Thank you for coming back every week. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to go ahead and bless this deck, right? As you guys can see me shuffling it right now. I'm going to go ahead and bless my deck and put it in a space where it can get juiced up so I can begin using this. Because I'm going back to, you know, a reading method that I prefer. Okay. And then I want you guys to have a good week. I want you to stay hydrated. I want to make sure that you are eating properly, right? That you're taking care of your mental health. You're taking care of your emotional health. You're taking care of your physical health. You're taking care of your spiritual health. And, you know, you're getting shit done like a boss, right? So that being said, I wish you all the brightest of blessings.